I want to teach you absolutely everything that I know and the best ways that I've learned how to do these things, because we are all psychic. We all have the ability to heal. Our bodies are miraculous. We are capable of so much more than we know. And I just believe that like we're all in this together, and I want to give you all my psychic secrets and be like, okay, go.
Namaste. You're listening to the Savannah Podcast. Join us on an exploration of Eastern spirituality, yoga philosophy, and conscious living for the new age. This podcast is a production of SavannahSpirit.com, the best place to shop for unique clothing, spiritual handcrafted jewelry, healing gemstones, and fair trade gifts from the Far East. Now, here's your host, Brett Larkin.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Today we have a really special podcast episode because it's a little bit more of an experiential episode. We are continuing our conversation with spiritual medium Bree Melanson, and in this episode, she teaches me and all of you as well how to do what's called a muscle test. And you can just follow along at home and do this. Muscle testing can help you intuit where your limiting beliefs lie, using your body as a gauge. This is third eye opening, it's a centering exercise, and it's really easy to do on your own, but definitely don't do it while driving. So come back to this episode if you're in the car, but it'll really open your mind and your heart to subconscious patterns that may be hindering you. And I was pretty surprised by this wild episode, and I really want us to get straight into it. Before we do, quick reminder of the ways you can support the show. Number one, make a purchase on SavannahSpirit.com. They make this podcast possible. Today, I'm highlighting their high energy chakra mala for psychic energy, completely relevant to today's show topic. This is a potent 108 bead mala that can be used in your meditation ritual and as a harmonizing chakra strengthening necklace. Each of the 9 different gemstones relate to the 7 body chakras. And for those of you wanting to bolster your psychic energy, each of the gems work with subtle energies significant to your spiritual development. So for new customers of Savannah Spirit, they're offering podcast listeners Take 25, a coupon code. And that's going to literally just take $25 off anything in your shopping cart in the whole online store. It's an amazing deal. So if you've never purchased something at SavannahSpirit.com, don't wait. This is a great opportunity. Take 25 at checkout. And then the second way you can support the show is by leaving a rating or review here on iTunes. And in this period, just as a special thank you from me to you for taking the time to leave a review on iTunes, because I know it's not easy, I want to send you a really beautiful PDF booklet that I've put together, just full of my favorite journaling prompts and my favorite affirmations. And all you have to do is basically leave a review, screenshot it with your phone. So just leave a review on your phone, send it to my team, info@brettlarkin.com. Send your screenshot of your review over there, and we will respond with your beautiful PDF booklet within 48 hours. You'll have it in your hands. So thanks for your support, and let's dive into today's special episode. All right, so on Tuesday, Bree, I feel like we kind of discussed our way into a really, really interesting place where I'm going to paraphrase, but you basically were saying how anything that's bothering you is basically the universe telling you that there's these things that you need to learn, and you can kind of upshift your frequency or vibration. And then that type of thing that seems to keep happening, like I think we were talking about love. We were talking about money and love and, all the things that people care about, right? So if someone's not texting you back and that's bothering you, like the deeper thing there might be that you need to love yourself and not be reliant on love of you. And the sooner you learn that lesson, the sooner you'll sort of clear that block and then move on to like other additional lessons that you need for your soul's evolvement. Is there anything you'd add? Am I sort of paraphrasing?
No, no, you did great. I would say that 2 things. So one is everything that exists. So if you're curious about what subconscious beliefs you hold, keep in mind, there's always a payoff, right? I have to do this in order to do that. It's not just, I hold the belief of money is hard to come by. If you're curious about what belief systems you hold, our lives are like detailed blueprints of our entire belief system. And if you want to change your belief systems, as you said, you want to just start to shift your perspective. And that all comes back to, our perception of ourselves. So it sounds like a buzzkill because we're like, no, but I want him to always text back. And that can happen when we allow ourselves to step more into a loving whatever you want to call it, divine, universal perspective. So we are essentially detaching from the condition. So when we attach ourselves to a condition or a need, we basically we block the divine. We've blocked in other ways that can come in. If you think about even just energetically, if I'm putting a bunch of needs on you, if I'm, putting all my energy and my needs on you, what are you going to do? You're going to retract, right? So just universally, energetically speaking, by releasing our needs, we open up ourselves to receive. And then I'm also able to experience you from more of a true perspective of all that you really are, and vice versa.
I like what you said. If people figure out what their subconscious beliefs are, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. And I know there's a test that you want to do with us all, so definitely work that in at the right moment. But I think it's funny, right? Because for a lot of us, we're like, well, I don't have a belief system, right? I mean, it's so hard because you just see the world the way you see it, right? It's sort of like getting access to what's going on behind what's going on. And that's why yoga and meditation is so powerful, so we can sort of exercise that muscle of awareness, right? But I think that you were saying something, and I want to make sure we really capture it, that's like, if people want to know what their subconscious holding patterns are right now, they just sort of have to take a look at what's annoying them in their life right now, or what they're placing needs on that need to happen. That right?
Yeah, for sure. And just to reference what we talked about on the last episode, is it's helpful to look at beliefs about money and beliefs about love, but again, just keeping in our hearts and in our kind of our mind's eye. That at the core of it, it's a perception of ourselves. So when we can go to the core of things, we can heal it. And so, yeah, if we're to make a blanket statement, we can look at our lives and look at what's around us and say, okay, this is what I believe to be possible. And collectively speaking, as we shift our beliefs, we help shift the entire collective experience about what is possible. That's also why, it's easier right now. There are a lot of things going on in the world, obviously, that are difficult. And with technology, we're able to see absolutely everything that's going on. But there is a rise in consciousness happening. And as that veil opens up, we are able to more easily access divine information, our intuition. So as we really, truly are one. But to rein it back into looking at how you can look at what specific beliefs you hold. Muscle testing is a really helpful way, and I'd love to teach you how to do that. There's a lot of different ways that you can muscle test. You can use your fingers. You can have someone press on your arm. You can use a pendulum, even though that's not really called muscle testing. And nutritionalists sometimes use muscle testing. I'll use it for like certain herbs or vitamins or even foods, but I primarily use it for beliefs, to check to see what beliefs I'm holding, and then also just to communicate with my soul and my body, because even if you are taking a vitamin, your body shifts and changes. So I'll always kind of just check in with my body and use this method. So I'm going to teach you one way to do it that's easy, that you can do on your own without having to pull or push anything. And to do that, you'll just need to stand up. And when you stand, you'll want to stand as relaxed as you can and stand with your legs about hip distance apart.
Okay, so I'm going to stand and do this now. And listeners, I'd encourage you to do the same, unless, of course, you're driving. So,
and yeah, just try this later. Standing, relaxing as much as you can. And I usually will say to close your eyes, it helps you to kind of drop in. I'm going to give you a quick visualization to help you to just ground and align your energy, and then we'll get right into the muscle testing. So as you relax the muscles on your face, relax your belly, your arms, taking a breath into your heart space. Just bringing yourself within, dropping within, relaxing. And as you breathe into your heart, imagine a light emanating from your heart space. And using the breath, I want you to just imagine that light glowing and growing throughout your heart and your body. And allowing that light, as you just imagine it, to grow and extend beyond your physical body. And just kind of relaxing into that space. And as you imagine that light, knowing that that light can expand and contract, just being aware of where that light might sit most of the time. So where does it feel like intuitively? Where does it feel like that light kind of tends to rest? And just feeling this energy, being aware of the you, your energetic, your auric field, just being aware of the you that exists beyond your physical body. And we're just going to ground our energy by imagining sending that light down into the earth, down into the very core of the earth. And then pulling the earth's energy right back up, moving through the earth, through the bottoms of your feet, up your body, around your body, up through the top of your head. Just with the intention of connecting with your divine self, love, alignment. So feeling what it feels like to be grounded and connected up. Now just allow for your body as you're in this relaxed state to kind of shift forward to where you stop with yourself with your toes. And then bring yourself back to center. And then do the same thing going back to where you stop yourself with your heels. And then come back to center. And as you're relaxed, and Brett, I'm going to have you do this, and everybody else can do this as well. I want you to just say gently, yes, 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 and tell me which way your body goes.
Forward.
Great. So you're going to bring yourself back to center. And then I just want you to say no, 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 and see which way your body goes. And Brett, which way? Yeah.
Backward.
Wonderful. So Brett, you're getting a clear yes and a no, and I want you to just stay in this relaxed state. Most people, I want to say about 90% go forward for yes and back for no. Sometimes people go back for yes and forward for no. The important thing is to just know what your yes and no is. So what I like to suggest is in this moment, Brett, I'm going to have you just play with it and think or say something that you know to be true. So it could be like, I love the ocean, or I love yoga, and just see which way your body goes. And then I'm going to have you just say something like, I live in Timbuktu or Zimbabwe, and see which way your body goes. So my point is that you just want to get always, before you muscle test for anything, you just want to make sure you're getting a clear yes and a clear no. And another way you can ask is just body show me yes, see which way you go, and body show me no. So in this moment, you're just asking for your soul to come forth. You're already out of the way. We're just setting the intention, I'm ready to get out of the way. I'm ready to be out of the thinking mind. And Brett, I'm going to have you just say a belief, and then if you test yes for it, I'm going to clear it. Is it okay if I kind of look at you intuitively?
Yes, I'd love that.
Okay, cool. Is there anything, any particular area in your life that you could say I could use a clearing around blank? And it won't be specific, won't be like Sally Johansson.
No, around my home and my house, my home, my physical space.
Okay, cool. Can you I'm just going to take a second and take a look at what we can clear to help create more ease and abundance in that. So it'll just be a moment here. Okay. So the thing with muscle testing is sometimes we have to play with the words, but can you say, I have to prove that I am not my past in order to know that I am, what I'm hearing is seen or enlightened. So I have to prove that I am not my past in order to know that I am enlightened. And then just tell me which way your body goes.
Hold on. Can you say it again? Because people listening should do this too, right? And see which way their body goes when they say this statement. Okay, so can you just say the statement for me one more time, and then I'm going to be quiet because I'm going to do it, and everyone else can as well.
Yeah, and it will be helpful too. For you can test for anything, but this tends to be a common belief that we all hold. So let's just try first. I have to prove that I am not my past. And you can try for, I have to prove that I am not my past in order to know that I am enlightened. You can also try for, in order to know that I am loved, in order to know I'm connected to God, in order to know my truth. I know that's a lot, but you can play around with the words. That's just what I'm hearing for you, Brett. So tell me which way your body went, just with the first one, enlightened.
It went forward for the first one.
Yeah, great. So I'm just going to ask that we energetically clear that. And I'm going to also just, if it's okay with you, just ask your soul if there's any advice around how you can continue to move into the shift. Is that okay?
Sure.
I'm a polite psychic. I always ask for permission. So I'm just going to energetically clear that. And if you were holding that belief, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm also going to clear that for those of you that tested yes. So it'll just be a moment here. So we're just asking that we all know what it feels like to step into, our purpose and our potential here on earth and our truth without needing to prove that we are our past. And what they're showing me is like, some of us like to hold it. They're showing it like those old hitchhiking sticks, like that old like cartoon image of someone carrying stuff. Like we like to be like, well, look how far I've come. That like kind of martyr energy. So we're needing to prove how far we've come. So we're just pulling that we know how to stand in our truth and our divine consciousness and our light and our love without needing to prove that we are our past, or particularly without needing to hold on to it. That we know what it feels like to maintain this enlightenment without holding the fear that our past will repeat, or this could show up like, I'm going to turn out to be just like my mom or whatever it is. So we're asking that we know how to maintain this vision for ourselves. And it's so interesting the way they're showing this for you, Brett, is like it's moving up through the ground and through you. So that you know how to maintain that. We all know what it feels like to maintain that stronghold without holding that belief. I know that was a mouthful, but I'm just going to kind of witness that being shifted. It'll just be a second here, and I'm going to take a look for you, Brett. And lastly, that we know what it feels like to honor and love our parents and our ancestors without needing to hold on to their pain or their story or need them to heal. That's okay, just an internal or verbal yes. Okay, so let me just, Brett, I'm going to go into your soul really quick. And your soul's reminding you of your ability to feel and experience joy. You have a really high experience, level of that. And so your soul just showed me you going around. I don't know if it's like clearing out stuff that doesn't bring you pure joy, or hold on just a second. Let me ask. Your soul is showing me that you can have an oasis anywhere on this earth, and it's kind of like oases. Hold on here. What do you want her to see? So what would you like for her to do to maintain this new perspective? Okay. So actually, I'll just spit this out real fast, and then I'm going to have everybody ground. So just the message is for you to, it's kind of like it's the energy of like, if I were to move into a home and I was really excited about it when I first moved in, and then years later, I was like, man, this isn't enough. This is dumb. I don't like that. Your soul's just reminding you, and for all of us, what it feels like to remember seeing things for the first time. And one way that we can do that is, just asking and practicing our ability to see things in their true form, again, without kind of putting those Post-it notes on it, even if it's like a tree, where like, there's a tree, I know what a pine tree is, but if we're able to see the light, let me see the purest light of this, then we're able to see it in its true form. So that's just like an ask that we can all do. And I'm going to have us all, so Brett, why don't you just retest for that belief and say, and for all of us, let's retest and say, I have to prove that I am not my past in order to know that I'm enlightened. For those of you that tested for loved or safe, or you can test for that. So I have to prove that I am not my past in order to know I'm enlightened or loved or safe. And which way is your body going, Brett?
Back.
Yeah, cool. So it cleared. So just taking a breath, coming back into the body, maybe sending your energy down again, just easily, effortlessly moving that into the earth, and then pulling the earth's energy right back up. All that divine intelligence and support moving through you, around you, up through the top of your head, and just asking to be aligned and cleared. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes and sit down.
I'm sitting back down. That was really cool and crazy.
Cool and crazy. Yeah, it's amazing what is at our fingertips within our body. Our body and our soul is so ready to communicate with us. And sometimes it's just simple as just doing that, like getting out of the way. And
yeah, and I'm hoping people who were listening could experience that, like regardless of what they were sort of asking or going through. By the way, we all probably have like issues, or, you know, like where we live is a huge part of our life and who we are. So whether they were working on the same as me or had like a different question, I'm hoping they kind of just like felt how, because I see what you're saying, like we didn't even spend, I mean, I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, I need an hour of Kriya and meditation in order to get into a place where I can really feel clear and sort of like communicating with universal intelligence, let's call it. But I mean, what we did just now, it's like, it was 3 seconds, and it's like your body's just kind of like going forward and back. And like you're saying, it's so easily accessible. Can you describe for listeners like why it's so easy, and a little bit more about what just happened?
Sure. I mean, it's all about, as we know, getting out of the mind. Like the mind is designed to be the follow through. And unfortunately, we spend a lot of time functioning from that space. So the body, I like offer, is our most intuitive tool. And so when any time that we can create, even in each moment, to just bringing ourselves back to the present moment, that's where everything exists. That divine information, that consciousness is always moving through us. It's just a matter of getting out of the way. And as you know, that's why meditation and all of those things are important. But our body is not separate from our soul. Our soul sure exists in a vibrational form, but it moves through our cells, our emotions, our magnetic field. We're drawn to places. There's a great memory within our bodies that comes from our soul. So that's always there for us. I mean, sometimes also I like the exercise of just, taking a few breaths and dropping yourself within, and maybe putting your hands on your heart and just saying, soul, what would you have me know? Maybe putting your hands on your belly and asking, body, what would you have me know? And the thing with intuition and going within is you have to just continue to try to trust what comes in. We all get information differently, but usually it's the very first thing that you think or feel or hear or see, and it's going to be love-based. And sometimes that information will come even before you ask a question. So a lot of times with muscle testing, our bodies will start moving before we even finish the question or the statement, because it moves so fast. Our brain is so much slower.
Well, that was kind of going to be my next question about the question piece, because the question piece does feel like very heady and sort of like mind space, right? So how does it shift so quickly out of that, I guess, is my question.
How does it move so fast out of your energetic field, or how did your body move so fast?
How does your body move so fast? Like it's just, I've never, like what was interesting about it for me is like usually you have, if you're thinking a question, or you're thinking you wish something was different, or even I think what was really helpful was you were prompting me, right? So instead of me thinking of what I should say to myself or ask, it's sort of like you were like the teleprompter, right? So it didn't feel as like thinky and heady. And then, yeah, do you kind of get my question?
Not sure. Being very articulate. So everything comes in as energy. That's why, like, if I'm talking to someone that's transitioned that was from Mexico, it's not like, oh my gosh, they learned how to speak English. Like, everything is vibration and energy and kind of downloaded, and then it comes through in thought. So that's kind of secondary. So we are also very psychic and reading everything around us all the time. So this is happening all the time. We're just not consciously aware of it. Our body is translating information and transmitting information, and then the thought form is second. So as soon as you think it, and a lot of times, like when I work with somebody, like a lot of times I'll work with other psychics, and when I'm doing the clearings, they feel it clear the second I get the answer of what needs to be cleared. They're like, oh, I just felt it leave. And I'm like, wait, I haven't done my magic moves on you yet. So it's happening so much faster. And then we're having the physical reaction. And when something like muscle testing, just like anything else, just like using your intuition and going within, it gets easier as you continue, and your body will get used to it. So now when I go to muscle test, I don't get like a yes, no first. I'm so used to doing it. I'll just put, if I'm asking about something in my life, I'll try to get out of the way. That's most important. But I'll maybe just put something to my heart without thinking about it. I don't have to be like, dear body, is this vitamin good for me? Like, I just put it to my heart and my body will give me a yes or a no. Sometimes I go sideways, which is just kind of like, meh, indifferent. But yeah, it's usually pretty clear.
So people at home could do this, even just using this recording, like just getting centered, like you taught us, doing a couple tests. It sort of reminded me of like the lie detector tests they do in the movies or whatever, right? Like the first couple questions are always just like, are you female, right? Or like just, so you do a couple questions like that to sort of make sure your yes and no are sort of working. And then you could just ask yourself anything you wanted and just see which direction your body goes, and then sort of wait for an insight or a download, or, something just might pop into your head really quickly, and then you can just sort of run with that.
Exactly. And I just want to remind everybody, I know I've said this, you're like, yeah, Bree, we're not plagued by our beliefs. They're all just here so that we can transform them into light and something, what we would say better, but something more expansive, something more closer to our truth. So I just want to give that caveat. It's like, oh no, I'm holding like one time I tested for yes for I hate people or something like that. I was like, oh, I gotta work on that if I'm going to be working with people. And so it's something that you can also just, for you, I did an energetic clearing, which, we can just start looking at all the things that we talked about on the previous episode around, I'm ready to see this differently. I'm ready to move through this from your perspective, soul. I'm ready to heal this. Help me.
Well, I think this is a great way to segue into just telling people a little bit more about what you do and how you work with people, because like one of the things that was interesting is like, it sounded like in the first episode we did together, you talked about how you're kind of like an operator between, that's what a medium is, right? And kind of an in-between between this world and, whatever else is out there. And it was just interesting because it seemed like you were literally talking to someone on the other end of like a phone or something almost during that clearing. Can you tell listeners what was going on there? And then maybe you can, tell us a little bit about how you work with folks.
Sure. Yeah. So I have just kind of fine-tuned my skills, and I didn't, although I had psychic experiences as a child, I wasn't out the gate like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is something that I've been, I met that teacher, my first spiritual teacher, about 10 years ago. And it's just been more or less, it was after that, it was kind of a slow build. I mean, I followed it because it was my passion and I really committed to it. I was just kind of became a student around it. So right now, my passion lies within teaching people how to do this work. Both, I kind of have two major programs. One is Psychic Boot Camp, and that teaches you how to access your intuitive piece. So more around mediumship. I get into channeling, about past life clearings and angels and, spirit guides and how to connect with them and how to incorporate them in your everyday life. And it's interesting with this work, with the intuitive work, what happens kind of not I guess not accidentally, what's the word I'm looking for? What happens is you start moving more into your soul. So there's a beautiful personal transformation that happens because you're aligning with this part of you. And then the other program I teach is around how to identify your own deep subconscious beliefs and patterns, and how to change them. So that's more really stepping into your soul and your soul's purpose, and moving out of limitation, which is an infinite process. But like I said, I really do believe it gets easier. When I first started this work, when I said yes to this work, the universe kind of handed me a bunch of life stuff to get through. So there was, some clearing that needed to be done, I believe, in order for me to just show up professionally also. So I do work with one-on-one clients, but on a small scale. Like I'm pretty much booked throughout the rest of this year. So I'm focusing more on empowering others to do I want to teach you absolutely everything that I know and the best ways that I've learned how to do these things, because we are all psychic. We all have the ability to heal. Our bodies are miraculous. We are capable of so much more than we know. And I just believe that like we're all in this together, and I want to give you all my psychic secrets and be like, okay, go.
I love it. And we'll put all the links to your website and all your details for folks who are interested just in the show notes and below this episode, so you'll be able to find it. And, you know, Bree, when you were like, it sounded like you were receiving a message from someone else, and then you were like, okay, hold on, and then I'm going to tell this or do this. Again, can you just, or is it literally like voices you're hearing, or is it just a feeling that's coming into your body? Like how does that work?
Yeah, that's such a great question, which can help to illuminate something for people, is that we all receive information differently. So I tend to be clairaudient. So I hear, and I also get downloaded, which is claircognizant. Those tend to be my primary ways that I personally receive information, hearing, and so clairaudient and claircognizant. There's also clairvoyant, the ability to see. So a lot of artists will be able to maybe get more visuals. I also get visuals, but it's not my strong suit. And then there's clairsentient, is the ability to feel. So those are the four clairs. And just personally, as a psychic, I've learned, and I really empower people I have an off and on switch. So I don't walk throughout the world getting inundated with like some, being or whatever. I have created excellent boundaries, and I create others to do the same. So because I've been doing this for so long, I just move kind of fast. I set the intention. I asked you for permission. What I did for me, I close my eyes because it helps me focus. It's not like a magic trick. I ask, and then I get just as if you were talking to me, I would hear something. And then there's that piece around a download, which is like, they just kind of drop the information in, and then I translate it.
That's very cool. Yeah, we've had some really amazing folks who've come on the show in the past and talked about the clairs, and I think it's really useful for people to know. And I can also put those other episodes in the show notes in case someone listening wants to learn more about that. But that's really helpful because clearly you're clairaudient. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, so that makes total sense why you were kind of saying things the way you did.
Also, just wanted to share, I have a free intuitive training up on my site right now. It's almost 2 hours, and it has clearings. It has a meditation where you can connect with your spirit guide. And I go over more of your intuitive senses and, tools and tips that you can use to really begin to strengthen and bring that in. And we're also adding another one around beliefs here shortly. So your listeners can check that out. Thank you so much.
Bree, thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope people, if you didn't get to do this along with us, really just do it, try it, because who knows what kind of self-healing is available to all of us if we just ask ourselves questions and kind of get into this state. And I know I was just really impressed with how fast it worked. So, I mean, in today's culture where, we don't always have 90 minutes every morning for, the yoga and meditation practice we want, it's kind of amazing to think that there could be so many answers accessible to us just through this. So, Bree, thank you for coming on the show. And listeners, let me know what you thought of today's episode. I always love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram at Larkin Yoga TV. You can join the Savannah Spirit private Facebook group. savannahspirit.com/group will redirect you there. And, don't forget to support the show. Everything that we do here on this program is made possible because of savannahspirit.com. So make sure to go on there and just look at all their beautiful yoga clothing and jewelry and see if there's something that strikes your fancy or something you want to gift someone else. And remember, you can use that special code TAKE25 for $25 off anything in your shopping cart. So I'm sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you and connect with you next week. From my heart to yours. Namaste.
You've been listening to the Savannah Podcast. To find out more about Savannah, go to savannahspirit.com or follow Savannah on Facebook at facebook.com/Savannah Spirit. For daily inspiration, check out our blog at savannaeast.com. Be sure to join us next week for a new episode, and thank you for listening to the Savannah Podcast.